Good morning, this is Jen. I have a new video to show you. This is my last book that's a custom order. I'm not taking any more custom orders, and I'm kind of excited because after this book, then I get to start making some things, hopefully to stock my shop and Etsy, which is bare. So, anyway, this book is already bought. And she had kind of a traumatic childhood, and her grandmother raised her, which she loves dearly, and also her dolls. She said her dolls were all she had to help her get through a rough childhood. So she wanted a book about little girls and dolls and her grandma, and she was raised on her grandma's farm. So this is my take on that. There's a beautiful little girl on the front, surrounded by some roses with roses on her hair, and I just thought she was so sweet. And here is a little metal embellishment that I cut out a little tiny butterfly and put glossy accents on it, and it's hanging on a pin. And this is actually a napkin decoupage and various laces. We've got music paper and oh God, my mind just goes blank when I do this. Well, anyway, you know what that is. I'll think of it in a minute. And the back I just left, plain so you could see the napkin. And this is a button from my grandma's button box. And it's held together with lace, just some kind of a lace tie. Very, very fat. And so this is how fat it is, but she wanted it full, so I'm good at doing full. And so we open it up, and the first page is a large pocket. I hope I can get the whole book in here. It's kind of big. And then I got some pictures of old dolls, and down here it says small friends. And then on the back it says a friend knows your secrets and loves you just the same. And inside is a little girl coming down the steps holding a kitten. And this is like a little booklet. It says she wanted to soar above the clouds, so she grew wings on her heart and took flight. And there's another picture of a little girl with a teddy bear. And this is just some tissue paper and that I had used to rust some stuff, and I stamped on it. Got that idea from Michelle Mulligan. This says you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. C.S. Lewis said that. And there's a couple little rosebuds down there. And here's a pretty bird picture, and this is just a little tuck spot here. Just has some various hearts, cut out hearts that I stuck in the tuck spot. And then on the back there's a little tiny pocket, and it says do what makes your soul shine. So that is that little booklet, and that goes down here. And then we have a tag of just a cute girl. That's a Tim Holtz tag. And actually, I love the back of those even better than the front, which is why I made it into a tag, because I didn't want to cover up the back. And this is a homemade envelope, and this is just a piece of paper inside. It says a friend knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you when you have forgotten the words. And this is just some coffee dyed paper and cheesecloth. That's the name of the stuff on the front of the book. Cheesecloth. Okay. So this is just coffee dyed paper, and you can write your own notes on there, so for all your journaling needs, as I like to say. And so all of these little things. Oh, this goes back inside the pocket on the back of this tag. There we go. So all those things fit in this front pocket. The next page we have a napkin decoupage of some flowers and a beautiful butterfly with some laces and some seam binding scrunched up along the side. And this page has a picture of it's got dictionary paper and This is paper I think I got from Sue Olson's shop, and there's a picture of a little girl. Not sure where that came from. And here is a little tiny, I don't know. I folded it up. It's not really an envelope. And it says, "One day she discovered she was fierce and strong and full of fire, and not even she could hold herself back because her passion burned brighter than her fears." And this says, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I absolutely love that. That's one of my favorite songs. And so that's just a little thing, and I ended up folding it up kind of like a napkin or an envelope, and it goes here on the side. And I have a little paper clip with 2 rusted bells on it to hold it in place. And this page has another one of papers from Sue Olson's shop and some lace. Up here there is a little Tim Holtz girl on a tag with wings on book paper, and this says, "When she became a butterfly, the caterpillars spoke not of her beauty but of her strangeness. They wanted her to change back into what she had always been, but she had wings." And there's a picture of a doll down there and some Raggedy Ann dolls on the back. And then I have this clock that I actually rusted. I've been rusting my own metal for a long time with, let's see, peroxide and alcohol, and it takes a long time. It's messy. It smells dreadful. And so I saw this. I have painted rust, to make it look like rust before, but I was watching a video that Nick the Booksmith did, and she had this one where you paint it, but then as a last step before you cover it with Mod Podge or whatever, you tap out cinnamon on the piece while the paint is still tacky, and then after that's on, you go ahead and put Mod Podge over the top, and it makes a really, really cool effect of rust. And like, she was doing it on paper, like down here you can see this is just like a doily cutout, and I put the paint and the cinnamon on there. Not only does it smell delightful, but it makes a really cool looking rust. So she was rusting paper things, but I actually went and rusted like a lot of my metal embellishments, like keys and stuff, and they really turned out well. I used black paint and brown paint and a dark red paint and teal, and then kind of splotch that all on there until I like the way it looks, and then I add the cinnamon and Mod Podge, and it's a pretty cool effect, and you don't have to deal with your embellishments sitting in rust for a long time. Plus, the rust sometimes, it compromises the strength of the metal. So if you're rusting safety pins or whatever, sometimes they won't work after that because the pieces break off from the rust. So this is a way to get rust and have it look rusty without actually rusting the metal. So that's just a little tip for you if you're into rust. Okay, here's a page. This is Tim Holtz paper. Made it into an envelope. Here is a little page, and I put a butterfly on there, and then for the body part I used a rusted metal piece, like a game spinner, I guess. And so this is just blank to journal on, and this is just another journaling card. So those go into this envelope, and then that goes into this tuck spot here. And on the next page we have a pretty little girl. She was a napkin decoupage, and there is let's see here if I hope I'm in frame, and there's some fabric and some music paper and some book paper and a rusted key down here on a pin. And the next page we have a little girl, and she's on like a front porch or something, holding on to her dolls, and she looked kind of feisty to me. I thought that was a cute picture. And here is another book envelope made out of music paper, and the thing that holds it in is a rusted paper clip with some little tiny pearls on the end. And let's see, inside here is just a nice pretty piece of paper. I did some stamping on it, and there's birds on one side, sorry, and on the other side is just, for all your journaling needs. So that goes in this envelope, and that tucks in, there's a tuck space behind the little girl's picture, and then I put the paper clip on there to hold it in place. And this lady looked like the epitome of all the grandmas I have known, my own grandma included. She's washing dishes at her kitchen sink. There's some old buttons here, some lace, book pages, and down here I have a little lace pocket. And let's see, in here is just a picture of an old woman. This also came from that photo album I have. I do not know who the people are, but I'm giving their pictures new life by putting them in my journals. And there's a woman, an elderly woman, sitting in a garden on a bench. And this says, "The bluebird carries the sun on her back." And this dreams and wishes. So this is just a journaling card. And that goes in the first pocket. And then this is another little booklet. There is a rose napkin decoupage, and then you open it up, and there's a little bird, and inside here there's a little rusted heart on a rusted paper clip to hold the envelope closed, and inside the envelope, oh my goodness, yay, it's Bunny. Hello, everybody. Ooh, it's Bunny, and he's holding onto a string that holds onto a heart. And you open that up, and it says, "Safe in Grandma's arms." And there's a picture of a little girl, and there's a coffee cup stamped on the back. And that fits into this little tiny envelope. You know how much I like to make little tiny envelopes and all those kinds of things. I really get a little carried away with that sometimes. And that paper clip goes on here to hold it in place. Let's see if we can get it back on there. Okay, there we go. And then here is another picture of a grandmother type person. And it says, "Grandma is unconditional love. You are my heart. Always remember, even if we're apart, I'll always be with you. You are my heart." And there's some pretty trim down here, and a little bird picture. And on the back, it's got an X and an O for hugs and kisses. And the next page, we have, this is really hard to hold. It's a big, it was a pillowcase with cross stitch or embroidery on the bottom with some, she likes purple. And I had this old locket, and I put a picture of a little girl and a grandmother type person in the locket, and I hung that on there with some lace. And then this page pulls up, the whole thing pulls up, and there's a picture of an old house, and down here there's a picture of a grandmother type person. And then this opens up, and it says, "Home, where life begins and love never ends." And then it says, "Where we love is home, home that our feet may leave, but never our hearts." And down here on the heart it says, "Home sweet home." So that is all underneath there, and then that just comes down kind of like a little curtain. And on this page, we have a little girl holding on to her doll, and some, oh my goodness, we got handkerchiefs and fabric and doilies, and those are some tiles that I made with glossy accents. And just a whole bunch of different kinds of stuff. And then behind her, there is a very large tag. Well, I guess it's a little bit like a book, and there's a picture of a little girl and some lace on the front. Then you open it up, it says, "Where I am loved, there I am home. And life takes you to unexpected places, and love brings you home." And there's a picture of a baby, and then there's a fabric heart, and this is, something that you could use for journaling. So you stick that back in the picture, behind the picture of the little girl with the doll. And the next page, okay, this is got a little book down here that opens up, and, well, actually that's an envelope, and then there is stuff inside the envelope. It says that hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. That's Emily Dickinson. And there is an actual heart that you could journal on. And this is a little booklet that says, "My hopes are not always realized, but I always hope." And there's a cutout of a bird on there, and all of those things go back into that envelope. And then up here there's a little tiny pocket, and there's some little tags in there, and one says "Just Breathe," and this says "Remind me of the happiness." And oh, there's something else in there too. Let's see what this is. There's a little tiny thing. It says "Always hope." If you have hope, then you have everything. You've got to keep hoping for what you want, or hoping for better times, or whatever the case may be. And this page, let's see here. Okay, this, she wanted a little bit of beeswax in it, and I actually took this tag and made beeswax. Covered it with beeswax, and it's got a safety pin and the word hope, lace, tissue paper, gear down here. It's, just a huge tag covered with beeswax. And then down here, I made like an actual, I don't know, it's a little pouch out of fabric. So you get inside here, and there is another little book, and it's covered with fabric too, and you open it up, and there's a little tuck spot in here. It's got a little tag. And then these pages are that onion paper. I love it. I love the way it crinkles. This got napkin decoupage, and these have some stamping on them. And you can hear the delicious crinkle of the paper. There's Bunny again. And let's see, this is just some more random stamping that I did to keep things a little bit more interesting than just blank paper. And that was a napkin decoupage. That's also a napkin decoupage. And then there's a little pocket in the back. There's a Raggedy Ann tag. It says, "Believe in yourself, for you are an amazing soul." So that's the end of that little booklet. And it goes in here in this little fabric pouch that I made, and cover that up like that. And there's also like a tuck spot behind that too, if you want that. And then this page, there's a little girl. She's so cute, pouring tea for her dolls. And that page doesn't have any tuck spots. I just put like a cloth, like a kitchen cloth. This is a tag with some lace on it, or a tile. And this is really pretty lace, and a doily. And then this page, I put some very cool trim, and there's a doily, and there's a tie to hold it together, and another little booklet. These are little tiles. This has a picture of a little girl with a tea tray. And this says, "Though I cannot flee this world of corruption, I can prepare tea with water from a mountain stream and put my heart to rest." And then there's two little girls on a tile. It says, "Let's have a tea party." And this just says tea. And then Here's a little tiny booklet made out of fabric, and there's some leaves on there. I know those aren't tea leaves, but that was the idea. And it says, a land of sheltered homes and warm firesides. Firesides that were waiting for the bubbling kettle and the fragrant breath of tea. I thought that was kind of cool sounding. So that goes in here. And then the next page says, find yourself a cup. The teapot is behind you. Now tell me about hundreds of things. And so all of that little booklet goes behind the doily on that page. And then we go to, oh, this is the page about the gypsy children, and I absolutely love the gypsy lifestyle. It really beckons to me. I just think it's really cool the way they live and the way they look out for each other and all that stuff. There is a pocket behind there, and this has a tie on it. And let's see. There's a rusted heart on the front on a piece of fabric, and then this is like a rusted doily type thing, and then this is just fabric behind it. And then you open it up, and there's some bottles stamped on and some more fabric. It says, I'm a free spirit with a gypsy soul, surrendering gratefully to wherever life takes me. So that goes on this page. We have all kinds of fabric and lace and beads and like stuff like that. And this is a rusted clock face. And then the next page continues that with a picture at the bottom. There's little coins and beads sewn on the bottom of that. And then over here, there's a pocket. And this is just a little envelope that's been decorated. And inside the pocket, this is a napkin decoupage. This is like a double tag. And it says, share with me your gypsy heart that I may love many things. And this says, gypsy wanderers, they teach us to see the world through beautiful eyes. So that's my tag. And it goes into this pocket, and the pocket slips over here into that pocket. Okay, always a lot of hiding places. And here is a page with some really pretty birds and lace. And there is a pocket over here, or an envelope that's also, let's see, it says, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. That was from Helen Keller. And this is, I just did napkin decoupage on book paper and made it into a napkin. And this is just some tea-dyed paper that goes inside the envelope for all your journaling needs, your stories, your secrets, your whatever you want. Because that's the whole idea of having a journal, is to put your private thoughts in there or whatever, and, you know, just release, unburden your soul, I guess. And here's a picture of a little girl. She's so cute with her doll, and there's all kinds of laces and trims and papers and doilies. Up at the top, there's a little pocket. And the first pocket says, she whispered it softly under the stars. And this is just some pretty paper that's folded up that you can journal on. And then this inside, we have a cute little girl, and it says, without life's struggles, I wouldn't have found my strength. Sometimes we forget things like that. It's like, why is all this stuff happening to me? And then you kind of think, well, you know, it's made me the person I am. It's made me, you know, be strong or be able to handle things or whatever. This says, the one who falls but still rises is so much stronger than the one who never fell. And there is a little tuck spot, and this has paper in it, a little napkin, and let's see, oops, that was just a card of some birds, and then this is just some little cute ephemera stuff that would fit in here, and this says, never let a single soul tell you you can't be exactly who you are. So all of these little things go back into this little envelope. And there's a tuck spot here behind this journaling card thing. And I just used the little paper clip to hold it in place. And that's the end of that. It goes up here in the pocket on that page. And then, let's see, we have this page, which has a little girl playing out on a farm. It looks like a farm. This is just some extra journaling paper in here, coffee dyed. And up here, this flips up, and it says, country roads take me home to the place I belong. That's an old John Denver song, and actually I always liked John Denver. I thought he was very cool. And this says, you say raised in a barn like it's a bad thing. So that's just a hidden pull-up thing. And then there's a big denim heart on a pocket. And here are some old rusted gears on a safety pin. I thought that looked like something that you'd see on a farm. And then behind that is a this is basically like a big journaling tag. And in here it says, every day is a good day to be on the farm. And this is just a piece of fabric that was sewn at the top, so there's like space underneath for top secret journaling, because you never know when you're going to want to journal some top secret thing. Of course, the fact that I've told everybody who's watching this about it makes it a little less top secret than before. And here's a little one of those jars that I like. It's like a tag, and it's got some bugs on it, stamped on it, because I don't know very many little kids that didn't have a bug jar at one time or another. And this is just a little, it says number 2, and a little piece of paper here. You know, I can't stand it if everything isn't decorated. And let's see, this opens up, and there's a little picture in there. And this would also be really great for journaling on. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to put this back on here with this little number 2 clip, and then that goes behind here in that big pocket. And ta-da, we have come to the end. This is a picture of a little girl with all of her stuff, with a lace pocket and seam binding down the side. This is an envelope. I took lace and I laid it over cotton fabric, and I sprayed it with purple and teal sprays, and it made this impression, I guess, from the lace. And then I just sewed it over a book page to make like an envelope out of it. And this says, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you someone else is the greatest accomplishment. And that's Ralph Waldo Emerson said that. I just painted over this book paper so that you could journal on it. And then we have the last page, which is also got a pocket and some embroidery and some little flowers and trim. And up here, this has a flower on it. It's actually a little pouch that I made, and out of an old handkerchief, and I closed it with a snap. And then inside here, of course, is something. There's a picture of a doll. Let's see, there we go. And there's a paper clip holding this little tiny envelope in place. And I don't know what this, let's see. Okay, it actually says, my dolls were my true friends, and I was happy with that. And that's just a little tiny paper that goes into this little tiny envelope. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll finish that later. And then we have this page has a picture of little doll on it. This says, let us be grateful to friends who make us happy. And this is another picture of a little doll. It's like a pocket. And inside here is a picture of a doll. It says, a true friend knows you as you are, understands where you have been, and still loves you with their whole heart. So that's a little tag that goes in here. And then we have this page that has a butterfly decoupage, and there's a bird and just some ephemera on that page. And this is a stamp, says a little story, and then there's a little doll in a baby carriage. And this has another envelope. Ta-da! And this is just a page, and then I made like a belly band out of some fabric and some flowers. And this says, well, this is just folded up. It says, she conquered her demons and wore her scars like wings. And then I just embellished this little picture at the bottom of this little girl with a cat. And you fold that up, and that goes inside here. And then there's a picture that goes inside there when I get it back in there. And then there's a napkin decoupage of a pretty girl, and there's a blank page. Blank page, everybody, that's a big deal. This is, they tried to bury us. No one told them we were seeds. So, and that the back of this just has some bits and pieces of lace and fabric and doilies and all that kind of stuff. And then this whole thing goes back in this little pouch that I made, and the pouch goes back in this little pocket, which is, there we go, on the last page. And then we're at the end of the book, which you've already seen. So that was a lot of looking and a lot of stuff and a lot of pockets and tucks and, you know, miniature cards and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for looking. I'm going to get busy on making some stuff for my shop. And I just noticed that I have hit 2,000 subscribers, which is way exciting for me. And I'm going to have to orchestrate a giveaway for that. So keep watching, and I'll be back. Thanks, guys. Bye.